Have you ever wondered about the cities that vanished in a storm of fire and brimstone? What could they have done to deserve such a fate? Today, we're journeying back in time to uncover the shocking truth behind Sodom and Gomorrah, two cities whose names have become synonymous with sin and divine punishment. This isn't just an ancient story. It's a profound tale of faith, consequences, and a warning that echoes through the millennia. What really happened in those cities? And what can their downfall teach us today? Stick around as we delve into one of the Bible's most dramatic and debated narratives. Imagine the Jordan Valley, a lush, well-watered plain, described in the book of Genesis as being like the garden of the Lord. It was here that two prosperous cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, thrived. They were centers of trade and wealth, bustling with life. The story begins with Abraham and his nephew, Lot. To avoid conflict over grazing land for their flocks, Abraham gave Lot the first choice of where to settle. Lot chose the beautiful plain of Jordan and pitched his tents near Sodom, drawn by its apparent prosperity. At first glance, it seemed like the perfect place to build a life. But as we'll soon see, a city's outward appearance can be very deceiving. The Bible tells us that the people of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. This wasn't just minor misbehavior. It was a deep-seated corruption that had permeated the entire society. So what exactly was this great sin of Sodom and Gomorrah? The Bible describes a complete breakdown of morality and hospitality. The defining moment comes in Genesis chapter 19. Two angels, appearing as men, arrive in Sodom and are greeted by Lot, who insists they stay in his home for safety. Hospitality was a sacred duty in the ancient Near East, a pillar of their culture. But that night, the men of the city, from the youngest to the oldest, surrounded Lot's house. They demanded that Lot bring out his guests so they could abuse them. This horrifying demand reveals the city's utter contempt for righteousness, compassion, and the basic safety of strangers. It was a society that had turned its back on kindness and embraced depravity. Lot, in a desperate and misguided attempt to protect his guests, even offers his own daughters to the mob, a detail that shows the extreme moral chaos of the situation. The angels have to intervene, striking the men with blindness to save Lot and his family. This event is the final proof, the tipping point that seals the city's fate. It showed God that there was no goodness left to save. Before the destruction, however, we see a fascinating and powerful conversation between Abraham and God. Abraham, learning of God's plan to destroy the cities, begins to bargain. He pleads for the righteous people who might be living there. "Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked?" he asks. This is a crucial part of the story. Abraham starts by asking if God would spare the city for the sake of 50 righteous people. God agrees. Abraham, with great humility and boldness, keeps lowering the number. What if there are 45, 40, 30, 20? Finally, he asks, what if only 10 are found there? And God replies, "For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it." This dialogue reveals so much about God's character. It shows his justice, but also his immense mercy and patience. He is willing to spare an entire city of wickedness for the sake of just a handful of good people. It emphasizes that God doesn't delight in destruction, but in righteousness. Sadly, not even 10 righteous people could be found in Sodom, which highlights the pervasive nature of its corruption. The only ones deemed worthy of saving were Lot and his immediate family. As dawn breaks, the angels urge Lot, his wife, and their 2 daughters to flee. "Escape for your life," they command. "Do not look back, and do not stop anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, or you will be swept away." This is a direct, urgent instruction with a clear consequence. They are being given a chance to escape the judgment that is about to fall. As they flee, the Lord rains down burning sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. The destruction is absolute. The entire plain, the cities, all their inhabitants, and even the vegetation are wiped out. It's a terrifying and complete eradication. But in the midst of this escape, tragedy strikes. Lot's wife, against the angel's specific command, looks back. Why did she do it? The Bible doesn't say explicitly, but we can infer. Perhaps it was a longing for the life she was leaving behind, for her home, her friends, her possessions. Maybe it was simple curiosity or a lack of faith in the command she was given. Whatever the reason, her disobedience had an immediate and severe consequence. She was turned into a pillar of salt, a stark and permanent monument to the danger of looking back, of being attached to a world that is passing away. It's a powerful symbol of incomplete obedience and a divided heart. This story is more than just a historical or mythological account. It's filled with lessons that are incredibly relevant for us today. First, it's a profound cautionary tale about the consequences of sin and societal decay. When a culture completely rejects moral standards, compassion, and justice, it sets itself on a path to self-destruction. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a powerful warning that there are real consequences for our collective choices and actions. It reminds us that societies don't just crumble from external forces, they can rot from the inside out. Second, the story highlights the importance of faith and obedience. Abraham's faith led him to intercede for others, while Lot's obedience, though imperfect, led to his salvation. Lot's wife's disobedience, on the other hand, led to her demise. Her story is a timeless reminder to not be so attached to the material world that we disobey God's guidance. It encourages us to look forward to the future God has for us, rather than clinging to a past that He is calling us away from. It's about trusting the path ahead, even when it means leaving comfort and familiarity behind. Third, Abraham's negotiation with God beautifully illustrates the power of prayer and intercession. He wasn't afraid to approach God and plead for others. This should inspire us to pray for our communities, our nations, and our world. It shows that God listens and values our compassion for others. We are called to be like Abraham, standing in the gap and advocating for righteousness and mercy in a world that desperately needs it. His example teaches us that prayers can make a difference and that we have a role to play in seeking mercy for those around us. Finally, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah is ultimately a story of God's justice and mercy. While His judgment against unrepentant sin is severe, His desire to save is even greater. He went to great lengths to find even a small remnant of righteousness to spare the city, and He provided a way of escape for Lot and his family. This points to a larger biblical theme. God is just, and He will not let evil go unpunished forever. But He is also merciful, constantly offering a path to redemption and safety for those who are willing to turn to Him. It's a dual message of warning and hope. The fire and brimstone symbolize the seriousness of sin, but the rescue of Lot reminds us that salvation is always available to those who seek it. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's a complex and challenging narrative, but one of timeless truths. If you found this exploration insightful, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content that delves into the Bible's most powerful stories. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What lessons do you take away from this story? Until next time, stay curious and keep seeking the truth.